And Herbster, are we excited today?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
We are rocking the house down. Hello,
Right.
everybody. Woohoo! Rhonda Boyle here with Ann Herbster, and we are the co authors of The Coach Business Guide,
Absolutely. Got our books here. Yes.
The Path to Launch and Grow Your Coaching Practice. And we've been talking about it all day. And we are super excited because Amazon put it on sale today for $1.99. So for under $2, as my husband would say, $2, you can have the pathway. We can get you going. And if you're not a coach and you're tuned in and you know a coach, feel free to buy this for them so that they can get started in a new career path. We're pumped about this, Ann.
Absolutely.
And today in this show, actually, we have a special guest. Judy Diaz is coming to us from Maryland, I think, right? She's in Maryland.
Yep, Maryland.
There you go.
That's right.
And we'll bring her on in just a few minutes, but today, right now, we're going to talk about a very touchy subject for coaches. What is it, Ann?
Money, 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 money.
It's the money. And it is the one thing that a lot of coaches get into trouble for, or trouble with, around, or struggle with. And it is, there's a lot to it. So let's get started talking about it just really quickly about how to plan for your success as a coach, your financial success.
Right. And it all starts with how much time you're going to devote to this. And it really starts with your time available. And this is where you got to take into consideration family and other commitments. You may be working. This may be a part-time gig. So you've got to be able to fit all of this in there and make it work. And once you've done that, then you can figure out how much time you have to spend on this new venture. And I always kind of look at it as your investment in income needs. How much money do you have to invest? Because you will have to have some investment. It may not take a lot, but you are going to have to make some investment, right, Rhonda, to be able to kick this business off.
Well, absolutely. But we do help you get there on a shoestring. Right. Like if you really,
Absolutely.
and a lot of people are in that position, we help you do it the old fashioned way, starting with the absolute basics. If you have to write a list or do a spreadsheet, so there are a lot of things I think that coaches make mistakes in that they buy that they don't need, like, well, I don't know, like a website, maybe you don't need a website right now. Maybe you just need a landing page. So we go over a lot of those things to help you with that.
Yeah. And, part of that is coming up with your current expenses, which may surprise you because the things you're going to need in your business, like your phone, like your internet, maybe even a video platform like Zoom or some of these others, you already have, or you can get access to inexpensively. So part of it is understanding what your expenses are, and then you can figure out how much do you want to make and how are you going to make it? The other piece is how much money do you have to help you along the way? As you come up with your sort of investment and income needs, part of it is, as we said, maybe you just need a little bit to invest, but what kind of income do you want to make? And we had a user ask, what's the name of the book? It's The Coach Business Guide, The Path to Launch and Grow Your Coaching Practice. And it's for new coaches and wannabe coaches and existing coaches to help them figure out, how do I start my business, but how do I start a successful business, and how do I drive in the revenue? So I think that's where we're at. And Rhonda's asked me to talk about this because this is something that gives her hives, that gets her really anxious. And I think it gives a lot of people anxious moments when you think about how much money you want to make. And Rhonda, what is it you say? That you only make as much as you can imagine, as you can think, as you can put in your brain. And don't limit ourselves. Right. You limit yourselves by not thinking positively about that. So as we've gone through a lot through the chapters in the book and setting up a workshop and pricing your workshop, setting up your sessions, your coaching individual package sessions, and pricing that. When you want to think about how much money you want to make, you got to think about how many workshops can I do? And how many package sessions can I sell? But that has to equate to how much time you have available, which goes back to how much time do you have to spend.
Mhm.
And you got to use all of that in calculating how many workshops can I really do in a month, and how many sessions can I really hold in a week? Because
Right.
if you've only got time for 3 sessions, well, let's say you devote 10 hours a week, and you may think, oh, I've got 10 hours of coaching. Not really, because you need time to run your business. You need time to set your business up. So maybe you have 5 or 6 hours of coaching because you need time to go get the clients. So you may say, oh, I can coach for 10 hours, but when are you going to go get those clients? How are you going to
Right.
network? How are you going to bring them in? And you've got to come up with a formula. And we put this great outline in the book to help you do the calculations and to play
Right.
with those numbers. Rhonda, she's showing it to you, and it looks a little intimidating, but if you follow through and think through what this is, you can kind of help play around and figure out how much money do you want to make.
Mhm.
And it's not unreasonable to put an aggressive number down there, right, Rhonda? Just,
Right.
don't hinder yourself by saying, oh, I'm only going to do 2 sessions a week. Be aggressive, get out there, market yourself, go meet people, because there are people out there today looking for coaches, but they
Yes,
don't
they're
know
looking
about
for
you.
you.
Yes. And what is that Debbie says? If you start with the goal in mind of what you want to make, that will help you price your package and how many you need. Absolutely. Put a
So
goal
we
in.
reverse engineer that for you and give you actually a worksheet in the book where you can actually
Right.
write this down. And again, play with the numbers. We've given you, like an example in the book.
Yep.
And we calculate it out where, okay, if I have sell this many packages, and you do sales, coach, this is a surprise for coaches. Like,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
sell yourself, y'all.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so guess what? If you have a coaching package and you have a firm price that you've actually done the work to look at how you should price it in your market, now you have what you need in order to build an annual income and know how much you're going to be working.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what it's
And
really
we,
all
yeah.
about.
And we do
Mhm.
go back to how much time you have available, because that's probably that's really the hindering factor. How
Mhm.
much time do you have available per week or per month that you can commit to this business? And then how do you split that into how much time to coach and how much time to manage my business? Because you got to get out and network. Again, you got to go meet people. You've got to be able to get your name out there so people know who you are and how to find you, right?
Mhm. Yes, yes. And we give you all sorts of little networking tips to help you in
Yes.
that and get the word out in the grow section. But let's back up a little bit about launch. Well,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? Before we talk about that, let's talk to our special guest, because
Ah.
we have Judy in the house. Judy Diaz is here with us, and let's fill everybody in on who she is.
Yes. So, Rhonda and I met Judy a while back. We were all working for a startup company where we were working with hundreds of coaches. And especially in her role, she's interacted with organizations such as ICF, helping to launch a pro bono coach service for Walmart's Gateways program. But Judy is a can-do, be-it-all person. From developing strategic businesses and revenue plans to product development, research, marketing, and partnership, Judy has done it all. And Judy, we are so glad you're here with us today.
Come on up, Judy, and say
Hey,
hey to the
Judy.
people.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thanks for having
Hi
me.
Yeah.
So excited for you guys. Love the
Thank
book.
No.
Thank you.
We are thrilled to be able to offer this really as a service. And I mean, really, come on, $1.99. y'all need
Yeah.
to go get it just to see what you missed if you're already a coach, because I can promise you missed something, because Ann told me how much we had missed as we were writing it, Ann, right? Anyway, Judy, you have worked with just so many coaches like we have, and we really want to talk about some of the issues, that we address in the book. So, good. Ann?
Yeah. So, as you think about these coaches where they're starting to launch their business and actually figuring out this whole idea of planning for financial success, any thoughts and ideas come to mind in some of your experiences?
Sure. Let me start with this. First of all, I was in startups under big brands at Airline, AARP, PBS. And the only reason I can say I was in startups under big brands is because I worked with a coach who helped me identify that's the kind of thing I was interested in. I haven't been a coach. I'm not a coach. But I was also interested in the coaching experience because it really did change my life and my trajectory and help me define my next steps. And what was interesting to me, for those of you who know the strengths profile, I am strategic, ideation, and futuristic, is that I saw that coaches needed to do two things at the same time. They needed to be really, really good at coaching. So they needed to be the product. And they also needed to be good at business. So they needed that piece too. And I can't think of very many careers that have to do, for the most part, both of those almost equally. Farmers do. I know farmers do. They have to be good farmers. They have to know engineering and animal husbandry. And they also have to know futures and the business. So many other careers, you have options within larger organizations. And I know coaches do too, but the majority are independent. And so they need to know both of those pieces. And it was fascinating to me. I, like Ann, love the business part. So just thinking through, what do coaches need to really be successful at business in an easy way? Because we all know that's not the reason most of you got into coaching. You got into coaching the coach. And so make that business piece as easy as possible and not onerous, and just what you need is really important. I watched Ann and Rhonda start this book. When was that? Was it 2 years ago now? We were at the startup. And I was so excited to see it in development because I just didn't see anything else out there that really helped coaches do that piece.
So as you think about, Judy, when you think about startups, because that's what what our coaches are doing, they're starting a business. Any insights or ideas of things in terms of thinking about revenue and thinking about income? Any insights you can offer, or thinking about the coaches that we've worked with in the past that you've heard?
It would be, my headline would be, keep it simple, especially initially. And that's, again, what I liked about what we were doing in our startups and also with this book. What Ann said, I'd actually written a note about this before she said it, which is so many of the tools that you would be using are tools that you know and have already. You need a phone, you need a Google Calendar, you need your own Gmail or email account. It doesn't have to be fancy, just create another one. Invoicing systems, these are things, maybe you don't have that already, but there are very simple systems. Most of them have a free version. For example, if you have a number of clients and you don't want to use your Gmail, your email to send them messages, you might jump on something like MailChimp, or no, you guys actually had something better. It was called
MailerLite.
MailerLite. Where then you can mass mail some newsletter or something. But these are not very difficult. I don't want to say they're easy because they're not easy for everyone, but most of them are pretty intuitive. If you need you have a suite of those things, and stop there. I like what Rhonda said too. You don't necessarily need a fancy website. Start with a web page that explains who you are. Then you can add schedulers and other add-ons after that. Most of the programs that you would use to build a site like Wix already have the opportunities to connect to some of those other apps that help you expand it.
Right. Well, and we actually get them started even earlier, before then. We have them start writing a profile that they can stick on
Right.
LinkedIn or their
Right.
Facebook business
Right.
page or just so they have a landing somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
where are you going to send somebody to find out more information about you, and what does it say?
Exactly. And I was looking through your key message section and that exercise, which I think is obviously very important. And what I liked about the key messages are they're all benefit oriented. So they're speaking to your prospect, if that's a business or a person, and what that business or a person gets out of it, not necessarily what you do, but the outcome based on what you do. And that's important because the other thing we learned, I've worked for 2 organizations now that worked on coaching platforms and coaching research, is that on the client side, many of you already know this, coaching is still sort of a mystery to people. What exactly is it? And what do I get out of it? So providing those benefit statements based on what you personally do is really important.
And you know what, Judy, that goes back to the whole idea of understanding what that transformational journey, the before and after. What is my client challenged with today, and where do they want to go? And building that into your messaging to help them see the journey that they can take. And I loved how you said, it is not about me, the coach. It's about that client, because they need to see themselves in what you're doing and in what you're offering. That is like so important.
Right.
Yeah.
And how easy it is. The first time you write something, it's usually about what you do. That's easy.
Yeah.
You just get it over with. Write that. That's fine. But then you keep working at it through the exercise to get to the benefit to the prospect.
Yeah. And I think having this whole, we've been talking about, you're not alone. You know, I remember Richard Leiter, I've done some work with Richard Leiter, as if you, Judy, and he said, isolation is deadly. Deadly. And this whole idea of bringing others into your fold and working together, you will be much better at what you do because you're getting other insights and other ideas and you're sharing. And that way you can create the right messaging. You can create the right information to help you move your business along. So
what I also liked, I don't have the quote necessarily, but what you're telling your client that what happens if they don't find a solution. So you're tapping into something that maybe they didn't even articulate yet to themselves. When I was searching for a coach, I didn't know what I was searching for, frankly, until I realized that I was hitting a wall. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
It's called knowing the consequences. Like knowing what would happen to Judy if Judy didn't work with me. It's sort of having them see you will continue to be frustrated in your job. You won't achieve that fitness plan that you want to be able, things like that. But then it's that giving hope, it's like, but there's hope out there. Yes. There is a way for you to overcome your challenges, right? I think that's what you're, yeah.
And it goes back to, they may not even know that they have a problem. And so you're maybe for the first time potentially articulating a problem that has just been niggling. It keeps them up at night, but they're not defining it. And suddenly they realize they hit a wall in their career, or their intergenerational team is not communicating. Aha, that's it. Now I need a solution. So that's why the key messages are so important. Sometimes you're articulating for the first time something that someone doesn't even know is an issue.
Yeah. And then there's always the call to action. Like you set them up, and then
why is that forgotten a lot?
And then you're like, you leave them hanging. Like, okay, I'm interested. Wait a minute. I'm ready to buy. You convinced me.
What do I do now? Where do I sign up? You got to have a place for them to go.
And make it clear at the top, please.
You're right. Press this button.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, look, Debbie brings up a really good point. She says they may think they know the problem, but it's actually something else. Yes. And just by asking questions, and we go way deep into having you articulate good questions that your
Mhm.
clients or your potential clients are asking, because sometimes, like you said, they can't even, it's niggling in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
And if they articulate it, they have to do something about it, maybe. Right. And
You know
that's
what
one
kind of
reason why they
relief
keep
that is?
ignoring it.
Yes, and the relief of that, right? Just that, just
Mm.
understanding what your problem is, that in itself
Yeah.
is such a huge relief. Whether
Right.
it's something that they think is, one way, but it's the other, or they've never articulated it. That's a huge first step.
And then
Well, and
hearing them.
also reassuring
Yeah.
them that you've helped them, that you've helped others like them, because then that
Mhm.
lets them know they're not alone, and that you've got that experience of working with others who have that similar problem. That's sort of very, I think, affirming, and makes them feel will make them feel comfortable working with you in whatever it is you've got, your
Right.
challenges are. Um, any other thoughts you've got, Judy, in terms of how do we pull this all together and help them see that that you are the right coach for them?
Oh, yes. So that I was going to mention too, the discovery call, how important that is
Ah,
as well. So again, it's still a mystery to people what coaching is, and that discovery call obviously is really helpful for you to understand the prospect and what they need, and the prospect to understand what a coaching conversation is like and what you're like. I thought it was interesting with the Walmart program that we had some coaches that were experienced with Walmart. And one of those coaches was extremely popular with a lot of the clients, and one was not as popular. And other coaches who had no experience with Walmart were popular. And I thought that the coaches with Walmart experience across the board would probably get more clients, but it didn't necessarily end up that way. It was the particular program that we were working with, and one of the coaches just wasn't connecting with the clients, where the other coaches were connecting. So
Right.
even your bio doesn't really matter as much in some cases as it's who you are. Or I shouldn't say it doesn't matter as much, but it's almost equal in my mind. Not just your experience and what you can do, but who you are and how you work. And do they feel comfortable with you? And obviously, it's different people feel comfortable with different work styles. So
Yeah,
that
that's right.
discovery call is really important for that, obviously.
but and I love that, because it's a chance for you to dig a little deeper and understand where they're at and what their challenges are, and then to be able to frame, because you have it in your back pocket, some packages or a program that you could offer them that you actually have. So I think that's a great, opens up the door for additional conversation and a chance for you as a coach to sell them on something you're offering.
Right.
Which is
And
great.
there's that sell word again, that sales word that coaches really, they get certified, they build websites, and they're like, okay, I got my
Yeah.
signal out.
And why aren't
Where-
they coming to me? Well,
Right.
it's more than that. Yeah.
Build it, they will come does not work for coaching.
It's so hard for a lot of people, right? It's a very hard thing to do. I admire people who love sales. I'm
Yeah.
also one of those person. I don't love sales, but I do love a good product, and it's
Right.
easy, so much easier for me to talk about it. And you are a good product. That's what you're selling.
Thank you.
So it makes it easier for you to talk about it. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's more difficult because you're talking about you and you want to be more humble. But just remember, you're the product and you're good. Right?
But you know what? You bring up a good point that we help coaches really not talk about, we help them talk about their product, meaning their package or their workshop, in relation to the ideal client.
Yeah.
So it's never about you, the coach, because guess what?
Mhm.
It's never about you, the coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ever. And
So
so
you-
that's what makes people buy, is when they
Yeah.
recognize that, wow, it's really about me. And now I get to figure out my part, and this person is going to help facilitate that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Love that. Gosh. Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Do you have, did you looked like you were about to tell us one more thing.
It's so silly. It's such a small little thing, but I'm experiencing it now because I semi-retired and I'm running a teeny tiny little nonprofit. And so I have all of this experience now with pennies, what, what things cost, and really watching the pennies, which is when you're starting. And so my last piece is a very tactical piece of advice, which is get a separate credit card for this and write down every so often when you have some time what you spend your money on. I can't tell you how much money I spend on coffee because I'm taking Perspective. It's a little community radio station. I'm taking Perspective donors out, and just like little things like that you don't realize that you're spending money on. And it was going back to your financial form, just like practice with just write it down every so often so you know all of the little things that you're spending your money on. So you make sure you've got a line for coffee. Thanks, guys. This is fun.
Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for joining us, Judy. We so appreciate your experience and sharing that with us today.
Good to see you. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. All right. Wow, she brings up some really great points that, and especially that last one, the reality is Judy has worked with so many organizations that are big with gargantuan budgets and all this. And now she's really actually working in an environment that a lot of coaches start in.
Yeah.
Absolutely counting pennies. And what we're trying to do in the book, and today, $1.99. What we're trying to do here for you is help you have a very economical way. And $24.95 is the hardback, not hardback, but the printed version. Yes, paperback version, where you can write in and highlight and so forth. But really, that's a small investment to stop you from making mistakes, because so often coaches hemorrhage money. It just is leaking everywhere because they really don't know what's essential and what's not.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that this is one thing that we really help them with, is identifying, what do you already have that you're spending money on that you can use in your business? What do you have to have? And if you're on a shoestring, here's how to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
So what a great time today. And we will be back at the top of the hour, and we're talking about the brand new book, The Coach Business Guide, The Path to Launch and Grow Your Coaching Practice. So we would love for you to buy it today at Amazon. They put it on special for $1.99.
Oh, and leave a review. Definitely. Don't forget to leave a review.
If you buy it, leave a review.
Yeah.
All right. And we will see you at the top of the hour. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.